From Lamington waffles, mirror cakes and red velvet pancakes, to freak shakes, unicorn frappuccinos and coffee in a cone. Over the past few years, we have seen a rise in trendy foods which have become more focused on what's Instagrammable.
I do believe that Instagram is changing the way we consume food based on the fact that we're very visual and we really do eat with our eyes.
Thanks to Instagram influencers and a host of foodie bloggers, food has become a clickable status symbol, and it's completely changing the way we eat. Natalie Catchman is the creator behind the Instagram food blog Get Fat with Nat, which has accumulated over 12,000 followers and gives us insight into the world of food blogging and how it has transformed the way we consume food.
So my food blog is called Get Fat with Nat, and the content pretty much is summed up by the title. It's essentially very fatty foods, anything carby, oily, deep fried.
Get Fat with Nat is up to date with the latest food trends. Her blog features wacky burgers, the latest freak shakes, and close-up videos of egg yolk porn.
So yolk porn is essentially when you cut into an egg, a poached egg only, and you get that gorgeous ooze coming out from the egg, just like that.
As a food blogger, Nat has noticed a shift in the way society is consuming food as a result of social media.
So I think people really are travelling around Sydney and around the world really to find these gorgeous looking things that aren't always necessarily that tasty but look great, and so it is influencing the way that we eat, and that we're following where the trends are and we're following exactly where the pretty things are.
Nat admits that following the latest food trends is not her sole purpose because from experience they are designed to look better than they actually taste.
Yeah, so I try to steer away from food trends, but some of them that I've bought into, and I guess as a blog I do get invited to a lot of things and I do get given samples as well. So I mean, I'm all over Nutella, so I got sent a bouquet of Nutella donuts and I was like, this is a trend that I'm happy to stick with. But you know, then you've got the freak shakes which look absolutely amazing and indulgent, but when it comes down to it, after a couple of sips, you're done. And as you look around, you notice that everyone feels the same way. It's kind of for the photo, but not much substance there.
According to the online survey Zagat, 75% of users say that they have picked a restaurant based on social media photos alone, and 60% say that they browse food porn regularly on social media. Social media analyst Joey Ferroni says consumers are now researching via social media apps prior to selecting where to dine.
For food in social media, I think it has affected the way we eat food. I feel like there's more people actually kind of researching before they go out to eat at a place, because I mean it is all visual on social media, so you got to get the look of the food right first before the consumer actually goes to the restaurant.
Inner West Cafe owner Jean Desnois believes social media has been the main ingredient for attracting new customers.
Social media has actually played quite an important role in my business, being in the cafe industry. It's our main forum to engage with our customers and showcase our offering.
While Jean accepts the impacts of social media, he's not sure it's beneficial for consumers who genuinely enjoy eating good food.
I believe most owner-operators or cafe owners would rather see a photo on someone's Instagram with a big following, rather see them take that photo and post it on Instagram, and then them eat only 1/4 of it and leave the rest because they didn't enjoy it, rather than them not taking a photo and then them enjoying the meal, finishing everything and complimenting the chef. That is what an owner would prefer, which is in our industry is very skewed. It's counterproductive, so that's where it's moving.
Despite these criticisms, he believes there's a way to balance good food that is also aesthetically pleasing.
Social media has influenced our menu creation. It has forced us to get seasonal produce and use colourful foods colourful ingredients in our food.
If there is one food that has benefited more from any other, it seems to be the once humble hamburger. It's almost made to order for social media.
The main food trends that we have followed and developed here at Conservatorium has been the burger revolution. We have introduced 3 burgers and incorporated it in what Instagram has been trending on, which is milk buns and very tall burgers. So we have jumped on that bandwagon and incorporated 3 burgers: our chicken burger, our brisket burger, and our pulled pork burger.
Nat 2 has also come under the spell of the burger.
I have eaten some very strange things, I'll be honest. So the craziest thing I'd have to say, apart from crickets and those strange, bizarre types of foods, I think the one thing that really stood out for a lot of people was when I had the hundreds and thousands glazed donut fried chicken burger. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but this thing just worked and it was pretty tasty. So essentially it was a glazed donut with hundreds and thousands, as you can see, and then it was a fried chicken, I think it was a thigh with obviously American style cheese, and it also had this beautiful, and again this just sounds so bizarre when I say it back, but it was like a jalapeno sauce. So it was quite spicy, it was a little bit sweet, it was crunchy, it had all the elements that sound strange, but once you tasted it, it was actually amazing.
Food bloggers have affected my business in they are an influence on the social media society, and they provide a huge following and provide us a bigger forum to showcase our offering to. So engaging in a food blogger allows us to reach another 10,000 people, as opposed to our small offering that we have on our social media pages. So it's helped us reach further and wider in our customers.
Due to the prevalence of food bloggers and customers' desire to snap and share their dishes online, a higher prominence is placed on food presentation within cafes.
Food presentation is very important to us at Conservatorium. It is the first thing people see when they get their plate, and the first thing they're impressed with. People eat with their eyes first and usually judge a dish before even tasting it, or in fact order it, we've noticed here, by other plates going to other customers. So people always ask, what's that? You know, it's the French toast, it's the fried chicken burger. If it's impressive on a plate, people will tend to already build a perception that it is delicious.
Recent figures released by Roy Morgan Research revealed Australia's interest in visiting cafes have increased from 41% to 48% over the past 10 years. Cafe goer Matthew Mazzotta admits Instagram influences his decision on where to eat out next.
As someone who eats out often, I definitely look at Instagram regularly to sort of suss out what's the next best place to go. Definitely affects my, if I go on Instagram and they've got a good nice page, good looking food, the way they definitely dress the food as well, if they dress in a specific way that interests me, something that is really different in the market. Definitely I can see that, for example, like Platform 82, where they have their tiers of their breakfast menu, very different, and it's very simple. It's just a breakfast menu, but put on 3 tiers, and so therefore you go to experience this different trend, I guess, that is attractive to the consumer.
Even if you haven't spent hours queuing outside to get your hands on a watermelon cheesecake, you may have found yourself searching for the perfect lighting and hashtags to post about your unique meal. The commonly used hashtag, "the camera eats first," is now a cultural norm. Keeping his eye on social media, Joey says a rise in food bloggers have facilitated a culinary influence on where online users choose to eat next.
I think there's been a rise in food bloggers in every sense, not just food, but just bloggers in general, because the market's changing. It's not so much mainstream audiences now, whether it be TV or radio. These food bloggers are creating their own sort of platform or world to provide influence to the general public. I feel that people listen more to them because they're kind of communicating in a more genuine manner. It's not so much our old school media that are trying to communicate like a broad message to the general audience. These food bloggers are kind of direct, and yeah, their content's just a bit more genuine. So I feel like they've got the upper hand now.
Joey refers to this recent food culture boom as a rat race, where everyone is chasing the latest cafe or trend as a means to show off online they have experienced it first.
This obsession, or this food culture obsession, has kind of spurred from just the general gist of social media. I mean, with you knowing what somebody's doing, 24 hours a day, it's obviously up to them how much they produce or they put out to the world. But we have developed a culture where it's almost I have to do one better than the person I know. And it kind of comes across as a rat race, this food culture.
Things might be booming now, but the question is, will online food gimmicks help cafes and restaurants survive in the long run?
So I think that some food trends are quite crazy and not necessarily delicious, but again, it's about eating with your eyes and pulling off the most extravagant looking thing, but not necessarily tasting great. So I think we're going a little crazy with some of these foods. These are ways to get people in, but the only problem with that is once they're in and they don't really like it, but they've had a photo, it's not necessarily mean that they're going to come back. So it's important to also have a really good product, not just a pretty looking product.
It is a timely warning and one that businesses might need to pay attention to.